All right. We are live. Let me get the Amazon thing going here. Hope everybody is having a splendid Friday. There we go. All right, so we've got the green screen mouse mat again, and I have it out today because, this is what it looks like. I've got it out today because we are going to play around with this green screen mouse mat again. It just showed up on Amazon, so I thought I would do my review of it. I just shot my intro, and next I'm going to capture some B-roll of a few different scenarios, and then that'll be it. So it'll probably be a quick one today. I think that's my plan at least, but we will dive into things as we go. And I think what I'm going to do is, I'm using vMix today, so I'm going to create a few extra inputs on my system here, and I'll show you, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to put my screen up, so I'll show you exactly what I am doing. So we're going to do a local desktop capture here. And I've got my gaming machine out here because I'm going to try, I want to see if the NVIDIA AI thing can work with this, because there's some limitations to what you can do with this if you have something that is close to green in color. So you'll see some issues, for example, with this mouse when we put it on screen there. So just be ready for that. So what I'm going to do here, this is going to look a little complicated, but I am going to create a virtual input with position 2 here, and I'm also going to create a virtual input with camera 3. And that way I can switch between things. So for example, I am going to key out this shot and this shot. So these two shots I'm going to key out. But I'm going to leave the original up, and I'll show you what happens when I do that. So I'm going to go over to color key just for this position, and I'm going to just select the key. I wonder if I should record this. Probably would make the video more interesting, wouldn't it? And let's bump these up here, chroma key filter. And now you can see that is totally zonked out. And the problem you run into is with the shadowing. And you know, that's kind of a challenge because this is flat to the desk. So you run into these issues. But here, I'll just show you what this looks like right now. So right now, so that's the shot with, and that's without. So I can, there it goes. It doesn't merge it. I thought I could merge the two. It's just going to, I could fade it up. Isn't that cool? So what we could do here is add in, I don't know, we could probably put some drawing in there or something like that. But you can see it's having some issues with the yellow here. You'll see too with this mouse that the mouse kind of disappears in the middle because that green is close. So those are the sorts of things that you run into with it. But yeah, we could put anything underneath this. So for example, I could put myself under it. So if I hit 2 here, no, if I hit 2 here, I got to go back on 1. Hang on. So let's try this. Yeah, so I can put myself in the shot, and then so I could do that. So those are some of the things that you can put in there. So if I go back here again, you know, hi, I am in my desk, and I'm typing on myself. Like there's a lot of wacky stuff that you can do when you've got this thing configured. Why isn't it? Oh, because I have this up. Hang on a second. So there's a lot of wacky stuff that you can do. And actually what I could do here, let's go back to this desktop capture. What I could do here is actually just put in the multi-viewer here, I could just put me in, I guess I can't do that. I'm trying to finagle this the best way I can. I guess I could just pull it up. Because if I do this, oh, not that, hang on. It's going to be on me, and I'm going to do this. Then I can project myself into the thing. So the problem is it stays on after I switch out, so I've got to close that. Actually, I could just switch, I think. Yes, that's the same shot, right? So there you go. All right. Yeah, there's too many lawns. You can't deal with that. So I'm just trying to figure out like the best way to demo this. So I might repeat what I just did as a shot. So let me just close this out. It's kind of a fun little thing here. So I can kind of start on this. I'm just going to see where I left off on my last clip. And okay, so I'm there, and then I think I ended on, and I don't have the gift of, I guess, ended on me. So I think what I'm going to do is probably cut over to vMix and actually show this part. So, I mean, it's not something that the normal consumer would do. But yes, most people are going to be using OBS with this, but I thought I would just integrate it into the production flow here. And now I just screwed it up. So let's go. I'm going to adjust some settings here and get it to be just right. And the lighting is obviously uneven here because I kind of keyed it for this spot. So the better option is going to be to do the direct overhead. So maybe we'll do that and just kind of play with it that way. So I could have it, we can do that, and then I can do, oops, wrong one. I did it again. Got to be this, and I got to do this. I mean, it's pretty clean, right? But you'll see in the shadow area that you get a little bit of weirdness. And it's hard because typically when you do a green screen, you light the green screen separately and you stand in front of it, so you try to minimize the shadows. Here it's a little tougher, I think, but this shot will work better. So for example, and I think what I'll do is actually do it with this shot. So we'll put this game controller out here. And what I am going to do is get a game running on my laptop to demo this. So I'm going to do a color key, and then we'll just beef that up there. So now we've got this controller, which is completely cut out. And so with this like this, what we can do, and I'll show you in a second here, is let me grab my, and I'll get some questions and comments going in a second here. I'm multitasking on 3 different computers, because that's how I roll, right? So let's connect to my YouTube stream. And by the way, if you're on Amazon, you can certainly ask any question you would like as well. And we'll get that going here. So we'll say, okay, turn this on, and then I'll jump over to my thing here. All right. So I got a ton of questions that came in. So let me answer some questions first, and then we'll play around with some of this. So I'm going to grab my little social title here. And we'll just bring this over there like it usually is. And we'll edit one thing here. I forgot to load up my live stream thing that I usually do. Okay, so we got some friends to say hello to first. So we're going to just do our usual hellos here. Romeric is here. Greg M is here. Zam is here. And we got lots of comments coming in. Flood of Sins is here. And yep, this is a mouse pad, but it's a green one, so you can key out stuff with it. And yep, we will definitely do that. Redemans. And Mark Dell is here, everybody. So there you go. I could do something like that. William Wilkinson is here. John Coles is here. And create a new input that is a color, and then, okay, I could do that too, yeah. I'm so far down this rabbit hole now, I'm going to just kind of stick with it. Brian Parker is here. Zam doesn't see a use case. I think there is a couple of use cases for this. It has to be the right color. So, one of the things that they showed was, let me find a couple of examples that we can point to. The problem is anything with green in it will be an issue. So, that's going to be something you got to be very mindful of, although we're going to try out some stuff in a minute that might give us a little more flexibility. But I have used this a couple of times, and what I find most useful, and I should have had all my cables ready before I started here. I'm sorry, everybody. what I have found the most useful so far is that, here, I'm going to pull up one game on here real quick. So let me just go grab my vMix desktop capture. We're going to definitely put the my computer through its paces today. So we're going to do this, and I'm going to pull up, and I got to plug this controller in too because I have no juice left in it. So I am going to do, I'll show you my primary use case for this is what you're about to see here in a second. And let me just find, yeah, Shovel Knight's on here, perfect, okay. Plug the controller in, make sure I'm in X input mode. Okay, so now, here's the scenario. So we're going to have a game pop up, hopefully. All right, so we're going to put this game up. And then what I can do is overlay the controller. So now I don't have like this box. Now, oops, I hit the wrong button. Hang on. So what you can do is you can overlay the controller without having to box it out. And then I could even go so far, so it's kind of big right now, right? So what I could do is actually go over to my position here and make it a little smaller. Now granted, you got the issue with the cable coming out of it because I didn't charge the battery. But I could hold it and reposition my thing here. You know, down here in the corner. And if you've got like a wireless controller, I think maybe we'll do the Xbox controller in a minute. This might get enough of a charge that I could just go wirelessly in a second with it. So if I cut over here, you know, you can do this here without having to have to box everything out. So you could have the game kind of running full screen. I think it's, I keep hitting the wrong button, everybody. What I like about it is that you've got this scenario where you can kind of maximize your full screen because you don't have to box it or make it smaller, and people can see your hand motion as you're moving things around. And set UID on the Amazon chat says with a overhead camera, yeah, this is exactly the use case. So I've got an overhead camera above it, and I'm going to do that. And that's the best way to go. It's like you have like a cell phone camera hooked up and just kind of shooting downward. Let me just record this as some B-roll here. This might be a fun exercise. But you'll see some pitfalls with this in a minute. And obviously you can't see the full screen, but you get the gist of it here. But it's pretty neat to be able to do something like that. And then, of course, if we give you the other shot, you can see that it's actually just looking like that. And I have it keyed up on top of it still, so I can take that out. So that is how that kind of works. Pretty cool. Set UID says, what does my overhead shot look like? Just a secondary input. Yeah, so I'm using, so just so you know, this is set UID in the Amazon chat. I'm actually using vMix, similar to OBS. Does the same kind of thing, but I've got an overhead, long story, but I got this overhead rig that I put together. Came in two different pieces. So there was a rig part and it mounts to light poles, and I've got my camera. I'll probably take some B-roll of that. I have my camera overhead shooting down. So it's shooting straight down on my overhead shot. So that is how that works. And I'm missing a whole bunch of comments here. So Unknown says, more immersion. That's for sure. You get a lot of immersion with this. So I'll pull this up on top here. And so you can see. But here's the problem. So we have that, right? But look what happens if we put the mouse on top. Because that mouse has green in it. or it's close to the green that I've keyed out. So now you've got an issue. So if you have anything that's green, you've got a problem. So that works fine, right? That's black. This white controller here, check this out. This will be fun. So the Xbox controller, no problem. This white one. But the A button, watch the A button, it becomes transparent. Let me see if I can zoom in on it a little bit more. So the A button, you can kind of see through, see that? Watch the button. You can kind of see through underneath because the A button is green. So that's kind of your problem, is that you're keying on this color. So it works fine so long as anything you put on the pad isn't green. But if you have, if you have something green, you're kind of out of luck. So, or something with green in it like the mouse, you're kind of in a rough spot. So what I wanted to try, and John, yeah, I need to do that. I'm trying to figure out my my shot here. So I'm going to make it a one button deal in a second. Komodo wants to know, can it be washed? This has got like a polyester to it. So you can, I think you can probably wipe it down with water or something like that. Mark Dell says he would spill food all over it, so he would need to wash it down for sure. Lawn Dog likes all the way behind the scenes stuff. Yeah, I figured, I'm not sure what I'm doing with this today. I'm in the process of shooting the review, and I thought it would be fun to just, I'm trying to get my bearings as to how I want to finish up the shoot. So that is what I'm kind of working on now. And what I think I'm going to try next, using this laptop. So I've got the RTX on this laptop. And so what I'm going to try to do here is I'm going to run NDI out of vMix over to the laptop over the network. And let me pull this up real quick. So we're going to do NDI. Let's see how this works. So this is NVIDIA Broadcast. I'm going to turn that on. And then I'm also, here, I'll show you what I'm doing here on the laptop. Let me minimize this. So we're going to try NVIDIA Broadcast. And the goal here is we are going to use the camera component. And how we're going to do this is I'm going to pull in NDI video. And to do that, I've got to go over to my NDI stuff here, NDI tools, and then they have an option here for webcam input. And what this is going to do is it's going to pull the overhead camera over the network from the vMix system. And I'm not sure what it's getting there. So let's go back to vMix, and now we're going to go over to my external outputs. And output, it looks like it's getting multi-view. So we're going to go to input 3. And that should change on the laptop. Let's see. There it goes. Yep. Oh, wow. Okay, so it's starting to, it's picking it up. So I put the mouse, see how the mouse is just kind of, you see the problem? So that's the NVIDIA camera beta. Let me record that. Now it's getting my hand just fine because NVIDIA like knows to look for human components, but it's confused on the mouse. And if I put my head under there, it would probably get the head. But you see what happens? Like the second my hand goes away from it, it stops seeing it. Let me go full screen on this if I can. Oh, where'd it go? Come back. That was a minimize button, that's why. And I have it on, let me go to quality and see if that makes a difference. Let's go quality. Yeah, so the second here, I'm going to start recording this again. So if I put the Xbox controller in, for example, it has trouble with that too. So if I have my hands holding it, it does a little better, but not great, right? The mouse, it sort of sees, but not great. And then this controller here is also kind of all over the place. So and this is the NVIDIA Broadcast app. So I was wondering if this AI would pick up the non-biological items here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to zoom the camera out a bit. and see if that fares better with it. I don't think it will. Set UID wants to know what's my overhead camera that I'm using. It's actually just a standard camcorder that outputs HDMI. It's a JVC, but you know, you could use a smartphone camera for this. It doesn't have to be anything crazy. And actually, your question leads me to think I might want to do a little more of my setup so people can see exactly what it is we're doing here. So we'll have to figure that out. And Thomas says, I need that video room that they shot The Mandalorian in. I do need that, don't I? That would be my dream, to turn this basement into that, because then I could just change the sets whenever. So that's what we should figure out. Chris White says, Mark's getting a Dell. He is. He's the Dell dude. Mark Dell. Absolutely. Brian wants to know, can I key out the food? Do I have food down here? I'm hungry. Thank you, Cartoon Boy, for the blessings. I appreciate that. Greg M is in Canada, so he normally uses Amazon CA non-Prime account. I think this live thing is only in the US. And John Coles here says, generally you have to wash them and put them in a sink or a bath and wet them lightly, a little scrubbing, and squeegees work well on them too. Yeah, I think it's a polyester, so it should kind of just bleed off pretty quickly. What I do with this is I just roll it up and throw it in my little bin back there. That's what I usually do with it. Trey Pop says he's seen people put it in the washer on a light cycle and hangs it to dry. And William says this thing looks like, yeah, this is one of 8BitDo's N30 Pros. It's a little NES-inspired controller there. It's pretty cool. And George says I could see, yeah, that's exactly, I think, the use case would be that you could demonstrate how to do a move with the controller overhead. I think I did this for a controller review I did recently. Yeah, and Mark Dell says the software is really for faces. That's what I thought, and I was wondering if it would pick up, given it's AI enhanced or whatever, I was wondering if it would pick up, the inanimate objects here. So that was one thing I wanted to try. And now that it doesn't work, that will make for a much shorter video. Let me just close this out. Well, actually, this is true. It actually feels, it's not, the same kind of felt, which is more cottony. This is definitely polyester. So that's for sure. Set UID says, forget gaming. This would be a great for multicam views of soldering. Yep. Assembly. Absolutely. Again, as long as it's not green. And the one problem you'll have with soldering is that if it's green, it's going to obviously bleed through on the key out. So I would have liked and this probably would have been hard for them to do, but if they had like a blue on the back, because then you could key against the blue, or you could key against the green. And I guess you could do a Luma key on the black, but that's often harder to get right. But right, and anything green. So right, I can grab one of these. Let's try that. So I can grab one of these baseball card packs here. And this is a Topps 1987 sealed wax pack, and we're going to do the overhead here. So now here's your problem, right? So we've got, it's green, just like the background. So when we switch over here, I'll go back to, let's go to my desktop here. So when I go to the computer's desktop, and then we key it, look what you get. It's like transparent. Because that green just bleeds through. If I get, because again, it's a green pack of baseball cards. So that's kind of the conundrum you run into. Now what I'm going to do, based on the suggestion that we had a minute ago, let me show you how we do this in vMix. What I can do here is go to Position, actually go to Layers and Multi-View. I'm going to bring in camera 11. So I can key 11 right on top, and I can move it around. See that? I can zoom it in, so I can edit here. I could zoom it. And it's zoomed just in this input. So now that that's here, I can take this as one thing, and then when I switch back, it's gone. But you can see, though, the challenge of something green or something with sort of green. So like if I want to do a mouse overview, I need to do something else. But this controller looks great. I got to do a little bit of work on the key here. But the controller looks nice because it doesn't have any green. And then if we put the Xbox controller in, see the A button, and I think this might be a fun shot as I set this up, is, let me reset the position. So that A is transparent. So I could do something like, oops, I guess they're not quite the same size. Hang on, let's go, I can just fade it. So I think I want to be able to show that. And you can see it's a little fuzzy. Wait for the focus to come back. Camera focus. My camera is on autofocus up there, so. Yeah, so it's a little fuzzy there, so I could try to fix that key a little bit so we can jump back in. And I can see the fuzz. And this is one of the problems, is that because your lighting, because your things you're using are likely going to be touching it, you get a lot of shadowing. So it's a little harder to work on to get a clean key without losing stuff. That might look a little better. That does look better. That's a nice clean key. But you can see that A button, because it's green, you have that issue. Isn't that cool, though? It actually looks kind of neat. The Y also is a little bit transparent. And then you also get some reflection. So this is the green reflecting off of that. You'll see some of that kind of go through there. So that's how that goes. Lewis says the Counter-Strike source code got released. That could be scandalous, couldn't it? That's still a popular title. Thomas wants to know about, we're going to talk about this one on Monday. That is Monday's live stream, Monday's weekly wrap-up. We're going to talk all about that. I still have more research to do on exactly what's going on there. Shulker says you might be able to do that. I guess you could, right? I could conceive of that, because you could have the controller overhead and you can push a button and then see what happens underneath it. The one challenge you run into in measuring this way is you got to make sure that your capture cards are not introducing latency to the mix, because that would throw you off. Prime is here. Hello. Sam says it looks pretty cool. Yeah, it's kind of neat. It's a weird effect, isn't it? So we'll have to play around with this a little bit more. But this is, that's what I kind of wanted to get a feel for how we would structure this review, because this is like a very quick one. And what I'm not sure about is how people would normally, like I would imagine somebody in the market for this knows how to key things out. So what I think I want to do, I'm just going to make some notes on my sheet here of things to cover. So maybe we'll assume that people know how to do it, and maybe I'll show the overhead rig so people have a sense as to how that works, because I could get my phone. Actually, I could probably shoot that now. I could get my phone out here. Let me go into my NDI capture app here. And we'll cut over to this screen here real quick. NDI. That's the wrong one. Because I can actually get up on my chair and do so I have this NDI HX camera. And what I'm going to do here, let's go and adjust the setting. So I can actually add this camera as a source. So check this out. So I can add it. And now we've got, pardon the mess here, everybody. So I can kind of do an overhead This is kind of a disaster. I'm kind of embarrassed to show that. Maybe I can zoom it in a little bit. Let's try that real quick and see if there's a little zoom option there. There we go. Just get rid of the, yeah, that works. Yeah, I cleaned up everything behind me, but I haven't gotten to the stuff in front of me yet. So what I'm going to do here is just record a little B-roll of the overhead shot. All right. And then what I can do here is kind of show the camera on the ceiling here. I gotta do some dusting, it looks like. So that works, I think. All right, let me go jump back over to our chat here. And you know, one of the things that I found here, because SetUID was saying you could maybe control the temperature of your lighting. What I have found with chroma keying is that it's not an exact science. You know, this was working with old, back when I was a kid at the cable access station. You know, we had these old analog switchers that could just key out stuff with analog stuff. It just worked. It was amazing. But chroma key's a little trickier because it kind of picks up a range. So the green on this button is not the same green as what's below it, but it's still keying it out because it's green. So you don't have the flexibility. Although I do have, let's try this real quick, because I have circuit boards all over the place. So let's take out see if I can find a card of some kind that I could put down. And not every card is green these days, right? So there are cards that are not green, but a lot are. Here, so let's take yeah, I got a Raspberry Pi. Let's see how that looks on here. All right, so we got a Raspberry Pi. And see, here's the here's the problem, right? And we could try to adjust this a little bit. So if we go back into here, let's see. So I could try to make some adjustments to this, but I don't think I'm going to be successful. So I can get, here, let me rekey it and see if, yeah, that's not going to, that's not going to work, right? Because it's all green. So if they had a blue screen that you could key against, that might work, but it's really hard on that. But again, if we have the Xbox controller here, and we'll just fix my key from before. And vMix will also do some anti-aliasing too, so you could soften the edges of it. I'm going to turn that off though. And you can do Luma keys on this too, so you might be able to do it against the black maybe, but then you wouldn't really need a green screen mouse pad, would you? So that's your conundrum. Mark Dell says, I would be, yeah, you can make it into an X-ray kind of thing, right? But you can see though, even though these are very different greens, it doesn't matter. Like it's really hard to pull out. Maybe there's a video expert out there watching who could do that. I don't know, but it's just hard to get this color green kind of keyed out of that, I think. And Lawn Dog says, I got nothing compared to his mess. Good, I don't feel so bad now. Yeah, what happens here is that when when I finish a project, I go right on to the next one. So I don't clean up after myself. And then what happens is I get a pile of stuff. And then on the weekend, so this weekend I will go through. So I had this whole section was totally disastrous. And then I actually cleaned it up. I felt really proud of myself. But then I looked over here and I said, oh my goodness. I mean, I still have stuff that I worked on like a few weeks ago. So it's pretty funny. Yeah, they should make a, I'm sure they've got one, right? Let me look and see if Amazon has a blue screen mouse pad. And I think what happened with the green versus the blue is that it's something related to the camera's sensor and why green is better to key against. I forgot the whole reasoning behind it. But I think that's just the one thing that people have to be aware of is that you will run into scenarios where you're trying to key out something that's green, and what you're going to end up with is your, watch this. Oh, wait, can we do, oh yeah, the whole, it's keying out green everywhere. So that's why you get, so it actually makes it kind of bluish there, doesn't it? Because it's not, you won't see my hand behind it because it's blocking it. But you can see that it's just keying in the black area. But we won't see the game controller because it's green, and so it's keying black in on the actually, it looks like my desk is transparent now, doesn't it? So that's without, that's with. That's pretty cool. Yeah, this is going to be a quick video, I think. I don't think there's much to demo. I think I'll show a couple of things, but I just want people to understand, like, there's some limitations to keying on a green mouse mat. And it was funny because we did one of my magazine opening live streams the other day, well, the one that we do every month. This was from a few weeks ago, or a month ago or two. And when we were going through the magazine with this, because I was trying to key the magazine out so that it would just float, right? And the problem is that every time there was green on the page, we had the issue of it keying out parts of the page. So just to give you another view of this, here, let's move this over here. So here, I'm going to show you this view. So we've got the Raspberry Pi, and we got the controller. So then we can go cut to camera 12. You see that? Now I've got to adjust the position again. I thought I reset everything. I didn't reset it there. Hang on. Okay. Huh. Oh, you know why I didn't do it here? Hang on. Let's reset all. Okay. For some reason, it's still zooming out the image on this. I got to figure out what I did, what I screwed up there. But yeah, so that, you'll have some challenges there. And you can see it's a little fuzzy on the edges here still, like the shadows will still kind of intersect with it. And that's why I typically, so I have the pull-up green screen behind me. Typically what you do is you light the green screen independently of you. So you light yourself, you put some background light, and that's how you do it. Hang on one second, Jake is sending me a message. Okay. So, yeah. So that's it. Nothing crazy. Figured I've got a laptop review coming up, the one that we were playing with the other day. So we're going to have that one coming up shortly. And yeah, so just a quick little fun experiment here to see how everything works. And hopefully, now we've got it. Now we got it down. Perfect. So I wonder why that is zoomed in, unless I zoomed that one in before. Let's see, position. I don't know what I did. I'll come back and figure that out. Yeah, so we'll play around with that a little bit more. And as Mark says, more lights often fix the problem, and that is correct. That always fixes it. Handheld in Session says, I just noticed I am not showing my member tag next to your name. Is that, oh, in the YouTube chat? Yeah, it doesn't show up on there. Maybe did it not bill you or something? I don't know how. I'm not sure how they determine when the member tag shows up. Now, Handheld says, is there any way to get rid of the shadows showing even when on green screen? As Mark indicated, the only solution is to put more light on it. So typically, like for example, if I was doing my like a regular green screen, this is like just an example, you would have lights behind this shining onto the green screen so there's no shadows, and then you would have the controller lit independently. So the goal would be to get rid of all these things. But look, even with this amount of shadow, let me move this out of the way so it's more clear. But even with all of this shadow, look how good vMix is at pulling it out. This is all in real time. Isn't that crazy? So it's able to pull out that shadow, which is pretty significant, I think, without a lot of noticeable issues there. It's pretty clean. You'll see it around my fingers, right? But it's pretty good. Oh, so Handheld, that's why. So first of all, thank you for your support. The reason why it's not showing up on YouTube is because YouTube only shows the icons for people that paid through YouTube. And I can't put those up manually. It doesn't let me do that. And the YouTube member thing is great. I am not discouraging anyone from using it, but they take, I think they take like 35% of what you contribute. So the way that you're doing it through the donor box is the best way, because YouTube doesn't get anything of that. So there you go. But thank you for your support. And I'm actually going to be updating the credit rolls next week, so you'll be on the end credits. So be on the lookout for that. So, but thank you as always for your support. It is greatly appreciated. Keeps the lights on down here, and I got a lot of lights to keep on and a lot of mouths to feed. So yeah, so you'll see this video maybe tonight, because I'm going to do the laptop. I'll probably put up tomorrow, or yeah, probably tomorrow or Sunday morning. We'll figure it out. Maybe the laptop will go up tonight. I don't know, but yeah, I got enough stuff to demo, so I think I'm in good shape. So that was all I wanted to play with today, but I will be back probably over the weekend. I will let you know what I am up to. So stay tuned. And I just thought I would pop on and have a quick little fun session here and get some ideas from all of you. So that will do it for now, but don't despair, because I will be back before you know it. I just want to get this wrapped up and recorded and finished, and then I will plan the next stream. So thank you all for tuning in. This was a shorter one today, but we'll be back again before you know it. So thank you all for watching. Catch you next time. Bye-bye.